First of all, thank you so much for being here, Carlo.
No problem. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm really looking forward to also going over your whole journey, the past 8 weeks within the Limitless program. And yeah, as I just told you, I want to just hear your results and how it's been going the past 8 weeks and where you are now compared to where you started. And just a great conversation and just looking to hear how it's been going for you.
Yeah, I feel like we should start from the beginning because how this happened is actually kind of unique because me, myself, I usually 99.9% of the times never respond to my messages on Instagram, like the cold DMs, these approaches. I usually don't really care, even if these guys are telling me, hey, we want to do this on a performance basis, we want to do this on a results basis, whatever. Plus, I like the mindset side of things, but at least a few months ago, I was very skeptical about this hypnosis thing. That was primarily because actually I saw a few videos about, Ibrahim. You must know him.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell is this actually? And so because I've seen that thing as not legit, but kind of weird, I wasn't really into it. So when you send me the message, in the beginning, I didn't see it for like, I don't know how long. But then when I checked, even though you didn't have a lot of followers at the time, but I saw that the profile was indeed legit. You had a great profile. It was very, very optimized and so on. Even though, again, you didn't have that many followers. Again, from this, you can see that the followers don't matter at all. As long as you're a human being, then that's what matters. But then when I saw the message, probably because in my subconscious, I knew that my current situation wasn't the best in terms of my belief system. Before actually working with you for the last 2 to 3 months, I started to notice back again that I was having a lot of limiting beliefs and similar things come up, and I wasn't really taking care of them. So most likely because of that, and because also you've pitched me this idea without even me having to invest any money, I was like, okay, let's try it. Again, in the beginning, for all of you watching, I was extremely skeptical. I didn't believe at all that this would be something that could benefit me as much as it did now. 100,000%. So then we started. I remember the first call, and this is probably the best thing I already told you that you have, is that your approach is nothing like client to client, client to business owner, nothing like that. It's like having a legitimate, like genuine person, friend who wants to talk with you, who's happy to talk with you every single time that you're there. And at least for me, with every single program, course, anything similar that I've been into, this was never the case. Even if I had the one-on-ones, even with the one-on-ones, all of these people, again, yes, they care, but not that much. And I feel like this is a big, big part, kind of like a dog. When the dog sees you, he's happy every single time. So that's why you like the dog. I'm not trying to say you are a dog.
I understand. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like it's the same feeling. Like every time I hop into these calls, I am happy because I know you are a good person. You're going to be there to ask me questions and have a good actual conversation with me. And that was extremely helpful. This is the first part. Now comes the most important part, which is the actual progress that I've made with this. Again, in the beginning, and I want to say this again, I was very skeptical. So my mind wasn't really that open within this field. From the first call, you already opened my mind a lot. I remember when we had our first hypnosis live, I was a bit, okay, let's see, what is this thing here? But one thing that started to happen from the second session, and that it happened every single time from that moment then, was every single week with the new hypnosis that we did, with the new things and stuff that we discovered from every single call that we've done, especially because you are very good at asking the good questions, the right questions. for example, in the beginning, I cared a lot about what other people think. I didn't really know why. I thought that was because of when I was really young, I was bullied and so on. But it was actually, that also was a part, but it was actually primarily because I wasn't comfortable and I didn't have any confidence at all when I was doing particular things. And I'm just really explaining everything in a general way, but the way that you explained me everything was extremely detailed and very, like, it was the exact right thing for me. It's hard to explain, but the exact thing that was happening to me. And then when you told me that, I was like, oh, like that one thing into my mind clicked, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And from the second call, third call, fourth, and so on, every single time that we would come onto these calls, throughout the week when we didn't have these calls, I didn't even think about what we did that much. But then, because again of the hypnosis and everything, we sort of unlocked something. Every single time that we hop into these calls, I could see what I've done into the whole week, even though I wasn't aware of it throughout the week. Then within the last weeks, I would say maybe the last 2 or 3 sessions, I started to be more conscious because, again, of every single time that it happened. But especially in the first half, so the first 4 calls, every single time that I would come onto these calls, I was like, oh, last week I did this, this, and that. And oh, this would come from what we said last time, every single time. And that was the thing that impressed me the most, because again, every single time that I would speak with you, I was like, oh, like this changed and this happened because of what we said last time. And I didn't even think about it. Plus, because I didn't think about this whole thing, it was extremely natural because it came from the subconscious. Like, the thing is, guys, with this new hypnosis and stuff, I didn't try to change. All I did was having these conversations with you, listen to the hypnosis, and then the rest came automatically without me even trying. Again, this was probably the thing that impressed me the most, because it came from an actual change into my identity that came naturally without me having to always think about it, either even putting the effort or actually trying to. And that was really good, because then that means that it's actually working really well.
Exactly.
And from, again, the first to the 8th week, then every single time I started to break these beliefs also around this hypnosis, because again, I was skeptical. And then only within 8 weeks, I was completely, fully able to achieve what I wanted to achieve from the things that we actually started to work on within the first session. And that was the primary main thing, because again, it was life-changing in that regard, genuinely life-changing, because a lot of things, again, I cared too much, and a lot of other stuff which were limiting me massively. For example, within my business, because also I was building my product and so on, I was stuck a bit and I was having a hard time closing clients. You can call this a coincidence, but it's not. Since we started working together, I started to close a lot of clients. 2 weeks ago, I think, we did one of the best weeks so far, 11K in 5 days only. And again, all of this started happening once I started to fix the stuff that I had here.
Yes.
And that also, and I didn't notice that, it translated into how my business was performing. And again, it's not a coincidence, because 2 months before that, the results were not even near to what I was having now.
No.
So, and as you know, Jonas, business is just a reflection of your life. So if your life is chaotic, is messed up, you have a lot of things that you haven't dealt with, then the business is going to inevitably take a hit on that.
Yes.
But if life is better, then business is going to be better. I can 100% guarantee that.
Exactly. Everything that you are reflecting in terms of your inner state, that's reflected to the outside world. And that's what we've been really working on, making sure that everything Carlo has in terms of beliefs, thoughts, and emotions in his body and his mind actually was the right things for him based on his identity and who he wanted to become. So we made sure that he had all the tools in terms of getting to that future self that he wanted to get to, which he has now gotten to from the 8 weeks that we've been working together, and are standing in a completely different spot. Business doing very well, his relationships doing very well, and his mindset is completely different. No limiting beliefs, no fears anymore. Really developed his own internal mindset and state in terms of this. And that's exactly what is the right thing to do before you try to use all these tactics and all these strategies within your business. Because if you don't have the belief in yourself and you have something limiting you in your mind, well, then that new strategy or new tactic isn't going to work in terms of this. So I want to just go over specifically the results that you have achieved since joining, Carlo. So in regards to the revenue in your business, in regards to the mindset, in regards to the relationships and your confidence, how has these areas changed from when we started and the results that you've gotten throughout the 8 weeks?
So the first one comes from the business, and the reason why I was able to close more clients and ultimately make more money. The first primary thing that I would say that changed and was a direct consequence of me making more money was, I would say, maybe a little bit of fear when it comes to sales, plus resistance to sales. Whenever I had to hop on sales calls, maybe because English is not my native language, I don't know, but because of fear of conflict, pretty much, when I was onto these calls, and the prospect that at the end of the call started to object, I didn't really try and push too much to get the prospect over the objection, even if the objection was non-existent. And that was because I didn't want to cause conflict, and I wanted to be sort of kind to the prospect. But then as I spoke to Jonas, I was like, am I being a better person if I do not push them towards something that can genuinely help them get out of their situation that's making them actually feel pain now? Or am I a better person to just say, oh, it's fine, take your time, we'll see you in a few months? The first option is indeed the best one, because my product, and I can say this with a lot of confidence, is really good. And if someone is an actual fit, and I'm very selective with the clients that I get in, then why am I not pushing them towards that if they have objections? And from what I've understood now also, objections are just a different way for the prospect to tell you, hey, I'm actually interested in what you do. Because if they didn't object, they would just say, okay, no, I'm not interested. Bye, I'll see you.
Yes.
But if they start to object, that means that they are starting to think, hey, what could happen if I actually invested into this? And that's only because they're interested and they see value in what you're offering.
Yes.
So actually, when you get objections, it's a good thing, because you're closer to the sale instead of not getting objections. And from that, since then, I started to obviously push more, because then I saw, hey, if this is someone that I can genuinely help, then why not? Why not trying everything in my power? Obviously, you cannot close every deal, but you can close way more than before.
And you don't want to close every deal. That's also
exactly. You only want to work with the people that are a great fit for you. That's super important, especially for you, because we are a great fit for each other. If you had someone else that wasn't like this, as this ICP that you have, then working with that person would be insane. For example, I've had many cases where even in the sales calls, I've had people that were, how can I say it in the best possible way, that were a bit too egoistical. They were a bit too full of themselves. I didn't like how they behaved. Maybe they showed up later on the call. Then when I check with them, like WhatsApp and similar, they tend to respond in days, and they are just being unprofessional.
Yes.
Even though these people may be a fit and may have the capital to invest, I'm not taking these people, because then what I'm just imagine, hey, what it's going to be like for me to work with these people only for a couple thousand. It's not worth it, because then you have these people for months with you. And if it's a nightmare every single time, just think about it. Every time you want to hop into these calls with them, this client close, you're going to say 10 minutes before, oh, I have to get into this call with the client. Absolutely not. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that with him. Oh, no, it's not worth it at all. You only want to work with the people that you like the most. Plus, also because then the experience is just going to be so better. You're just going to be flowing with each other's in a much better way than if you had someone that wasn't a great fit. So that's the first one. And I think, again, this came, I know, from the mindset thing. And because I started to push more, I started to care less about what other people thought. And that was the primary thing. I cared a lot, as I said before. And also that was one of the reasons why I didn't push enough onto the sales calls, because maybe I thought, oh, if I push too much, then he's going to say, oh, this guy's too push or whatever, which is not the case. It's not the case at all. Because with the people that I pushed, then they turn out to be the best guys in the end.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's the first one. With business-wise, it also came the fear of hiring. I've hired a lot of people, but because of the bad experiences that I had, I stopped hiring any other guys. But then what happened is I got caught up too much with the low leverage tasks that I was doing. For example, I have this acquisition system for LinkedIn, which is performing really, really well. But when it comes to the setting side of things, that used to take too much energy, time, and commitment from my side. And every single time I had to do that task every single day, I was, oh no, I have to do this thing. And I didn't want to do it at all. Some days I would even skip it because I didn't want to do it. So then I started to talk with Jonas. Jonas told me, hey, like, don't worry about the past experiences. It's like having a girlfriend. If she leaves you, then you don't just continue your life without any other girl like that. No, it's just one bad experience. So that doesn't matter. And I actually had a bad experience with another appointment setter. So then I hired a new one within 2 days after we had the call, something like that. And right now this setter is still working with me. It's been 3 or 4 weeks. And every single week, he has done the record week of bookings with that system.
Yes.
And this is because he is actually focused on that thing. That is his job pretty much. And because I'm not involved, even though I was doing the same things as he did, because I didn't have the commitment, I didn't have anything whatsoever related to doing that job well, then obviously I didn't get great results. Now I have him. I'm so much more relaxed and chill about this whole thing. And then working also becomes much better. And that was the first thing. Right now I'm in the process of hiring a closer, which is gonna be interesting because I have to still check up how these guys are gonna be performing. But again, I don't want my mind, as you see right now, to get caught up into these things. Maybe think, oh, how's it gonna perform? Oh, you wanna completely remove that out of the way. Because if I'm closing clients consistently, if I have appointments consistently, and if I have a script that I follow every single time, if I can do it, why can't someone else do it as well? So
exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. So this is all related to business. And again, these things were a direct consequence of me making more money. Then second thing, it came into relationships, as you said. And primarily my identity in general. I started to, and this was the main thing, I started to get influenced too much by other people and other people's thoughts and decisions from people that I knew, online stuff that I would see, and so on. And then what happened is I didn't even notice this. So then I got into politics a few, 2 months ago. Because I wanted these big connections and so on, and wanted to have this great network of these politicians and so on. But then the more I worked into this politics side of things, the more I started to be unhappy in general. And I didn't really know why. Then I discussed with Jonas, that's because I don't like politics. And if you asked me 6 months ago, would you ever go into politics? I would have said no every single time, because I don't like politics. I even tried politics. I've seen it's not something that I want to do at all, not at least in the way of a traditional politician, like getting their face out there, doing all of that kind of stuff. If I can still remain into the business realm and just expand my network, maybe do something related to, again, business and entrepreneurship, that's fine. But the other things that I was doing, absolutely not. So then, because I discussed with Jonas, because I had this limiting belief of these things that I was thinking about, then I said, okay, you know what? I'll just cut out this thing because it's not made for me. It was causing me a lot of, how can I say it? I wasn't feeling good with these things that I was doing, because also the people that I was, a few people that I was having chats with, they were absolutely not aligned with my values, my morals, and my ethicals. So because of that, I mean, yes, we are into politics, but if, for example, I am Christian, if you mock my religion in front of me, it's not quite the best thing to do, you know? So yeah, and because of that, the day after, maybe 2 days after, I just cut it out and I said, hey guys, I'm not into this anymore, and I just stopped. And since then, I've been feeling much better. And I started also to shape my thoughts and my ideas from me and not someone else. And now I know exactly what I believe in, and these beliefs actually come from me and no one else, which is the great thing about it. And besides all of these things, right now, the last one, which I've started to notice a lot yesterday, actually, is the change in my identity. I've started to really, really behave much differently to what I was doing months before. And this is something that I've been trying to do for maybe a year, even more, to completely, fully shift this identity to something else that I want to be, someone else that I want to be, actually. And again, it's this effortlessness of me doing these things without even thinking about it anymore, and just being. Because if you change this in the subconscious, then again, it's not like you have to then think about it and try it out. No, it's just natural. And that's what comes with these sessions. You understanding what you're doing wrong, then changing the subconscious with the hypnosis, and then you just being. That's it. Yes. Really, that's everything.
Exactly. It is really much everything, because as you start to understand yourself and who you are and the beliefs that you have, the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, you can then change it, because then you are aware of what needs to be changed, and you are working with changing the patterns in your subconscious, which is deeply rooted within the life that you've had up until now. And in order for you to work on that, you have to be aware and you have to be emotionally intelligent in order to then change it, of what needs to be different from where you came from. And that's a very important understanding, to know that if you are not aware of anything, and if you are not emotionally intelligent of then being able to change from that awareness that you've gathered, well, you can't change your situation. So everything comes down to working on yourself before working on the outside world. Because if you are at a certain frequency within the state that you have within the thoughts that you have, the more the outside world will start to form based on who you are and the thoughts that you have and the inner state that you have. So therefore, in order to do as well as Carlo has done, he actually followed the instructions. He was very open-minded to the process because he wanted to change. And that's also why I let him in to the test group in the first place, because he actually wanted to listen to me and what I have to say and wanted to do the work. Because you cannot change if you're not going to do the work. You have to put in effort yourself, energy into the process. Otherwise, nothing will change. So the main thing is that in order for Carlo to achieve his record week in 5 days and actually doing 11K in revenue, which is very impressive. But the main thing is that came from his own identity and him changing his own perspective of himself and his life around him.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you're trying to change your identity, like let's say you have been smoking for the last 10 years and you want to stop smoking, I don't know, maybe because of health issues, whatever. When you say, okay, I'm not going to smoke anymore, and you consciously try, this is my opinion, by the way, and you consciously try to stop smoking, guess what? It's probably not going to happen. And with most of the addictions and stuff like that, if for anyone watching, you've been into it, you know it, that when you say, oh, I'm going to stop doing this, probably not going to stop doing that, especially if you've been doing that for a lot of time. And that's because it's rooted into your subconscious, and the subconscious is a little bit bastard, because if you don't change that, but you try to change your actual consciousness and say, okay, I'm not going to smoke anymore, that's not going to happen. But if you say instead, and you don't actually say, you become the person who's not smoking anymore, who doesn't smoke within the subconscious, then you're not even gonna want to smoke anymore. It's not like you trying to not smoke. It's like you not smoking because that's who you are. And that's the thing with this subconscious stuff. Like, you don't change by trying to change. You change because the identity changes. And that identity has different things, different set of beliefs, different morals, ethics, whatever. And so you become that. So you don't actually change, but you become someone else. I think it's impossible to change, actually, now that I think about it. It's impossible to consciously change something. Rather, you become the person who's just doing what you want to change.
100.
And if you don't believe me, for anyone watching again, just try it out yourself. If you've been drinking for 20 years and then you say, oh, I want to stop drinking, I can guarantee it, within at least the next month, you'll be drinking again. But then if you say, oh, I want to become the person who does not drink, and you work with that, with this kind of, for example, hypnosis and similar things, which are fundamental and mandatory for you to change the subconscious. Otherwise, again, it's just you consciously trying to say, oh, I'm going to change this and blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to be able to change. That's because I tried myself in the first place to change the carelessness side of things, of my identity, for the last year. And every single time I noticed this, I would say, oh, I'm going to not care next time. I always care. But with this change of identity, then within like 4 weeks, it stopped. How? Because I said, okay, I'm going to change this. No, because I just did this whole things, which combined allow me to actually change. So yeah, that's the most important thing. And this is also why, for example, whenever you invest into a program or a course on how to scale to like 10K a month, 100K a month, the first thing, at least of a good product, first thing that you see is always the mindset phase. What does the mindset phase have to do with scaling to 100K a month with paid ads? Well, you have to become the person who's capable of doing that, and you have to have their set of beliefs. So this person who's giving you this program on how to scale to 100K a month with ads, because they've done it, they are just transferring these beliefs onto you, because they know if you don't have the beliefs that they have, if you don't have the identity that they have, even if you try to use those strategies, they are most likely not going to work. No. So that's why you always have the mindset things. And I see a lot of memes on IG and stuff. The first thing that you see, the mindset thing when you invest 5K, but that's mandatory. I mean, if I just gave my program, my system without that mindset phase, it would result in much less outcomes for my clients. Guaranteed. I could try this right now. It would. guaranteed.
Yes.
And every single time I've invested into the programmer course, and I started from the mindset phase, from the programs that had it. Those were the programs where I had the most results every time, because I've done it. I've done it also, so I know.
Yes.
And I'm speaking from actual experience, not
Absolutely.
assumptions. Yeah.
Cool. I like that. And I'm just smiling all over my face because I can obviously see where you came from, Carlo, and where you are right now, and the actual change in confidence as well. Because the first thing we started to work on with Carlo was his confidence around different situations that he wasn't as confident in. And it was just him being less comfortable with certain situations, because confidence just equals comfort. Every time you're comfortable in a situation, you're very confident in that situation as well. So that's what we also worked on as well, and really deeply made sure that his comfortableness was at the highest in each or one of these situations, and changed his beliefs around these different types of situations. And usually that came from him having certain feelings and emotions and thoughts about when he was recording something, about being a perfectionist or wanting to not speak up because he was sitting in a room full of other people, and now he's doing that comfortably, and he can just show up in his most confident self and really take control of the situation, because he's in control of himself and his confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And from the point that you said about comfort, if you just think about it, it's completely rational. For example, let's say you go onto a new gym, and the first time that you go into the gym, you're like, oh, like, what are the people around? You want to meet someone else again. You are not confident at all, because it's the first time you've been there. You don't know anyone. You don't know how the gym is structured and everything. So maybe you just think about, oh, where I have to go. Well, what is this machine, whatever. But then, let's say after a year, you know, a lot of people, you know, the gym as your house. So whenever you go there, you're comfortable. And for someone else that is coming there new, and they see you as confident. Why? Because you're just comfortable. Because you've been there for a year, you know everybody, and so you're just chill. But you can fast forward this process if you can just be comfortable from the first time that you go there. There's no need for you to go there 300 different times to become comfortable and then be confident. Just go in there and say, okay, like, we have new people. The gym is new. I'm just going to be chill. So even if someone comes the next day, they're going to say, oh, this guy's confident. But you've actually just been there for a day. So
Exactly.
And it's purely rational, like it's pure logic.
It is. It really is. Cool. So I know that you have a call in 5-10 minutes, Carlo. So I
10
want
minutes,
to
yeah.
just make sure that we end this off in a great way. And I want to hear about, how do you feel about the future now for you compared to before?
Yeah, right now, this very moment, this past few days, I've been very excited with the changes that I've been noticing in myself, that came from all of this. So I'm excited to see how I'm gonna do in the future, which is something that, again, I'm super, super excited to. And I just want to keep on going. Right now, also, I'm extremely grateful because now I also have the tools to change if stuff like this, which maybe can happen, never say never, in the future will happen. So now I know, hey, if this happens, this is how I tackle it. Not the way I used to do before, but this is the way that I actually do it. So then I'm also more comfortable and more confident, because I know what to do if this happens again. And I'm not clueless anymore about, oh, maybe I should change this, maybe I should do that. No, now I know. So I'm confident, and because it's ingrained now in my identity, I can live much, much better in general. Like, speaking of every single endeavor in my life, I can just live better because I know exactly what I have to do and what I need to do if anything happens. But right now, what I want to do really is just continue with this momentum that I have, which is going everywhere in everything that I'm doing, business, relationship, everything,
Yeah.
and just improve from here. But 100%, this is as honest as I can be. I never expected the outcome of this when I went onto the first coaching call with what I have now. So if you think you don't need this stuff, this is when you need it the most. Whenever you think you don't need something and your ego gets in the way, that's exactly where you need it the most. And if you want to just try it out for yourself, even just do one thing correlated to that, and you'll see. I don't even need to tell you anything more. But yeah, it's just been amazing. Truly, it helped me so much, helped me 100 times more than any other business program, getting clients, whatever. This is the stuff that matters. Obviously, if you're a complete beginner, you need the systems and everything. But for people like me, for example, like you cannot change a single thing within what you're doing, let's say in your acquisition, and still get 10 times the results just because you've changed, again, these little tiny variables here and there that came from you. So again, business is just a reflection of you. And if you want to change, you have to first change yourself. Then business is going to come. But you cannot do that first and then keep yourself in this situation that you don't like to be in. So if you don't like to be in a certain situation, just do something about it.
Amazing.
And that's going to be uncomfortable. That's going to be uncomfortable every single time. But that's where we grow. Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself, Carlo, and I really appreciate your time here on this call, and I really appreciate you for showing up as well during the 8 weeks where we tested the program and where we went over it. And I'm so happy to see that you are in such a good place now and you are ready to tackle the future with momentum and clarity and confidence, because I'm sure that you will be able to have this deeply rooted within your subconscious and within yourself in the next many years in terms of this. And
hopefully
it was working with you, and just be as open-minded as you've always been, and just listen to when people are doing better than you in certain situations, and just implement the stuff. And I know that you will go very far, and I'm looking forward to seeing your progress as well in the future. And I'll be more than happy to also hear in a year where it stands and this. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to see what the future brings for you, Carlo, because I know there will be massive results as well.